Hello and a very warm welcome to the programme. We start here in London, where a court is due to rule on what's being called the employment case of the year. The taxi hailing app Uber is being sued by 19 of its drivers, demanding the right to holiday and sick pay and also a pension. It could have major implications for the wider gig economy, where companies use apps to employ people on a freelance basis, from everything from deliveries, for example, to babysitting. Now, for Uber, there's clearly a huge amount at stake. In just 6 years, it's gone from a tiny startup to a company valued at $66 billion US. Now, Uber has always maintained that its drivers are self-employed, so they get to work as little or as often as they wish, but without the benefits of being staff employees. However, the plaintiffs here argue that they are employed by the company, so it owes them paid leave and a pension. If the judge agrees with them, tens of thousands of other UK Uber drivers could claim the same benefits. Now, that could potentially push up the cost of booking an Uber ride here in the UK. Now, Uber is fighting similar challenges like this right across the world. Now, back in August, a US judge rejected a $100 million deal between 385,000 drivers and Uber, saying that the settlement wasn't fair, it wasn't adequate or reasonable. But not everyone who drives for Uber is actually unhappy with the way in which it operates. Here are two London drivers who have very different views.
I am not self-employed. The definition of the self-employed is that I initiate and I create the business, where I do not. I follow the app and the app gets me access to the job and I do not get paid. The Uber get paid it and they control all these things.
I was always a creative person. I run different projects. I run a tech startup and we're very busy. And sometimes I can't drive for days. Sometimes okay, all week I'm going to drive on Uber. I'm going to make some cash.
All the benefits, they are enjoying it, and I am left all alone just to fulfill the responsibility. With the responsibility, there comes a right. You know, holiday pay, pension, and all these things.
I don't want to be owned by a company. I don't want to be ruled by a company. I want to build my own business. Or when I go away, I don't need to ask for permission. Oh, is that okay if I'm not working for this week? It's like, I just can't do that.
Well, Anna McCaffrey is an employment lawyer at Taylor Wessing, can take us through some of the details of this. Right, now, what are the drivers saying? Why do they say they ought to be treated as employees? What's their argument? How does it go?
Well, their argument is essentially around control, in that they say that whilst Uber acts as an app, the control they exercise over how the drivers pick up people, the fact that we can, give and take feedback on the ride and on the driver, and also in relation to how Uber sets prices, for example, means that they're not really acting as such an arm's length organisation as Uber have claimed in the case, and that therefore they're really under the control of Uber and are their workers, and therefore should get workers' rights.
As an employment lawyer looking at their case, do you think it's a good one, a strong one?
I think it's definitely very interesting. I mean, employment status has always been quite a grey area. It's just that, and it's old law. I mean, since the days of master and servant, we've tried to figure out who's self-employed and who's really an employee. It's just that now we're trying to apply these tests to different factual situations, and technology has really changed that. So I think they do have a good case, but equally, I think Uber has a lot of valid points to make.
Take me through Uber's case. What are their points, their major points?
So Uber's case is that they're not a taxi company, they're a technology company. And all they're doing is acting as a platform that connects freelancers, so people in business on their own account, the drivers, with customers. And that they're not controlling those people and are really the facilitator rather than the employer.
There's a little rich, isn't it? I mean, in terms of the spirit and the letter of the law, and ask any consumer what Uber is. It's a taxi hailing app.
Yeah, but I suppose that's the kind of thing about the gig economy, that we're new ways of getting kind of supplies of services. And I suppose Uber's argument is that all they're doing is providing a platform for taxi companies, which, and even black cab taxi drivers have traditionally been self-employed, to connect with their customers.
Just give us an idea of why it's so important, because how it could have knock-on effects to other industries as well.
Well, I think there's probably three reasons why the decision, whichever way it goes, is very important. I mean, there's a cost to Uber itself of having to pay holiday pay, sick pay, pensions. Could be, phenomenal and potentially could affect the viability of their business model. But on a wider scale, there's a lot of companies in the digital economy and the gig economy that have similar platforms that are looking very carefully to the outcome to see, what this might mean for them. And I think the third reason is there's also quite a lot of political focus on this just now. The government are looking at, fairness as to whether we've got the right balance between self-employed and rights of companies.
Anna McCaffrey, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.